Hello and welcome, my dear modelers, to my small hobby YouTube channel, where this week we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of a different MENG model. It's not exactly a modern MENG military model, but it is a MENG model and it's an older one. As you have seen from the thumbnail, it is a Jagdpanther G1 in 1/35 scale. It is a fantastic model. Besides being very detailed and hopefully even historically accurate, you also get some steel plates for side skirts, some photo etch parts to enhance the detail, and steel wires. The rest is basic plastic. The tracks you have to assemble yourself, and there's 3 sprues of them, so you're gonna have your hands full with this one. And like with all these MENG models this month, this is not exactly a model for a beginner. Like one expects from nowadays, these models fetch a pretty hefty price, so they're just north of 50 euros, more or less depending on where you live. The model itself was released, I think, in 2018, and then there's a subsequent version of this that came out 2 years later, a G2, with some cranes or sort. I'll put a picture here. Anyway, I think you're all just dying to see the model anyway, so let's just dive into the box and see the juicy parts. Hello and welcome. If you have just joined me, my name is Tomo and this is an inbox review of the Jagdpanther G1 from MENG Models in 1/35 scale. It is a Tyrannosaurus series, which means that it's highly detailed and it's a little bit more challenging for those of you who want to have a challenge. This tank, as I understand it, was built in cooperation with the Tank Museum in Britain, and that's why it has that Tank Museum logo on the box. And also, it's a 2018 release. A subsequent spinner of this Jagdpanther G1 was a Jagdpanther G2, which was released by MENG in 2020. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolute masterpiece of engineering in sprue form. It has highly detailed parts in 12 sprues, mostly due to the tracks which you have to assemble yourself, but it also has very detailed photo etch parts, metal skirts, poly caps, steel wires, clear parts, and some decals. It has multi-optional exterior details of different periods which are provided. Road wheels and suspension can be upgraded to movable suspension, but it's not in the kit. Metal side skirts are included, and 4-class paint schemes are provided. But that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. This model boasts surface detail which are absolutely fantastic. It has well beads, cast texture, cut marks, and hot rolling textures which are faithfully reproduced. Maybe a little subtle on at least the bigger panels, but they're there. The moving range of the main gun is the same as on the real vehicle. Commander's cupola hatch is rotatable. Fine photo etch parts and metal cables are included. And as I was yammering on about the kit, you were able to see in full detail what this model actually is, close up and personal. As you can see, the texture detail is there, like I mentioned, but on the sloping panels, it's a little bit soft. But you can easily remedy this problem by using some diluted Tamiya putty, or just putting a bunch of glue on top of the surface and then stipple it with a hard brush that you don't really need anymore. And this shot is the most impressive because you can actually see the hexagonal bolts inside the mantlet housing, which is phenomenal. The business part of this Jagdpanther is the gun, which is made in one solid piece that you just have to free from its sprue bed. I would like to see in the future kits that these barrels are made in such a way that they don't have to be cleaned too much, because you can easily make the round surface flat, so you're sometimes forced to buy an aftermarket part. I guess you just need to be a little bit more careful, that's all. And because this is a macro lens and I want to give you guys and gals some perspective on how big parts are, here is a 1 euro for you to enjoy and admire. And now we come to the most tedious part of this model, which are its tracks. You not only have to assemble them together in a workable form, but also you have to put those little, what are they called, spacers or holders for the guide wheels on top of each individual track, which is gonna take you quite a long time, I can imagine. And of course, there's 3 sets of sprues of these, so good luck. Tanks are not really known for their glass parts, but they do have some optics on them, so here they are. They're not numerous, but they are fantastic well, shiny and clear, which you would expect from any clear part, I guess. And just like mentioned previously, you also get some tow wires, which are real wires. And of course, side skirts, which are this thick, very heavy metal plates that you put on the side of your Jagdpanther. And this is the photo etch sprue that contains some detail up parts for this Jagdpanther to make it a little bit more realistic and pop out, so to speak. Here is again a 1 cent to give you an idea of how these parts are big in relation to this coin. And this little chain there is basically a modification you can do to plug up the machine gun hole if you choose to do so, which I think is pretty neat, don't you? And now we come to the decals. They're nothing really special. It's a nice print, very good, but really nothing to boast about. The manual, however, is again a little bit more substantial, like you would expect from this kind of model. It has many pages with many steps that make building this model, I guess, an enjoyable factor. The model allows you to build some variants of this G1 Panther, so you do need to be a little bit more careful. And so my advice would be to study the manual before you actually commit to building it, so you won't make any mistakes or miss a step, which would be a bit of a no-no. Anyway, it's a black and white manual that is pretty well designed, and I think will be enjoyable. You also get a pamphlet that shows you 4 paint schemes, how to paint the tank. It's almost the same, just the patterns are different. Well, that's all for me this month and this week. Thank you so very much for watching. If you have been, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll definitely see you soon in the next video. Bye bye.